Welcome back to the second episode of Three Gyms Talk Hockey. We're in the studio pretty early this morning. It's about 10 o'clock on Thursday, February 20th. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of recaps, and a big preview. USA-Canada tonight in Boston at 8 o'clock. The three of us will be in attendance, so we are very excited to talk about it and kind of just ramble on a little bit. Let's get right into the recap. So last time you were in here, we gave some predictions prior to the U.S.-Finland game. That game obviously went exactly how we expected. The U.S. dominated. But overall, I mean, generally speaking, the U.S. came out a little bit slow. I'm not going to lie. They went down 1-0 within the first 10 minutes. I can't really say that anyone was worried, but I think the Finns really surprised people with how they came out. They came out red hot. They were ready to play. They knew what they were going up against. But the U.S. really just bounced back. They tied the game a couple minutes after they gave up that first goal, and they just ran with it. Led by the Tkachuk brothers, Finland stood absolutely no chance. I just want to hear a little bit what your guys' thoughts on that game was.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Finns came out a little hotter within the first 5 minutes. But overall, looking at our team and our depth, I think there was really no doubt that we were going to be able to respond. And, once we put one in, the floodgates opened wide up. So we were just able to keep pummeling them with shots, keep getting to the net. I mean, the Chucks played unreal, each putting up 2 goals, kind of starting to take over the tournament after the first game. So it was really good to get them going. And I think it fueled the fire for the games following. And, really, you couldn't ask for a better start for the U.S. in that game. I think going down really helped them kind of face some adversity, get some resilience, and then fight against it. So, good game overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think USA definitely started off slow, but they really turned it on in the third period. I'm pretty sure they scored three goals in the first 5 minutes of the third period, and that really just solidified them as we're gonna win this thing.
Yeah, no, I mean they scored 2 in the first 30, 26 seconds to be exact. So you're 100% right. I mean, the first 40 minutes it's pretty back and forth hockey, good competitive hockey. Both teams playing, standing their ground. That third period came around. Those, like you said, absolutely just mayhem. 2 goals in the first 30 seconds, 3 goals in the first 3 minutes, and then obviously Matthew Tkachuk scores his second of the game on the power play just over the 10-minute mark. So generally, really good start to the tournament for the U.S. Connor Hellebuyck is absolutely unbelievable. Hands down the best goalie in the tournament, I think.
Not even close.
Yeah, so the U.S. I feel like has 3 really good layers in terms of offense, defense, goaltending. Obviously, Connor Hellebuyck's their number one, but I wouldn't
It's like
have
1A,
been
1B.
Exactly. I was gonna say I wouldn't have had an issue if they started Otter in the other games, or even if they started Otter and Hellebuyck was hurt for whatever reason. So I think that the U.S. in general is in very good hands from all 3 aspects of their team. Obviously, their coaching staff is incredible. They have some Stanley Cup winners behind the bench, which, I mean, that helps. To have coaches that know what it takes to win, I believe is a big part of success, and that's what the U.S. has kind of built up. So that was a really good start to the tournament for the U.S. Now we kind of head into Saturday, which was Rivalry Saturday. The first game of the day was at 1 o'clock, Finland-Sweden. Obviously, those 2 teams don't like those 2 countries don't like each other in terms of hockey. That was another really good hockey game. I mean, the Swedes, they would go on to lose this one in overtime as well, similar to how they lost to Canada in overtime, which is very tough in a situation the way that the standings work for a tournament like 4 Nations. I really like the 3-2-1-0.
I love that format. I think they should introduce that into NHL, but less about that. But Sweden had a good game, but they couldn't finish in overtime, and I would love to talk about Elias Pettersson and how he was leading talk and all through the trade deadline, how he might get traded, and then comes to Four Nations with every single NHL team watching, and it's a pretty big disappointment, and really not even getting top line minutes for a nation where he should be one of the leaders for.
No, 100%. I mean, obviously, different game that this is from, but against
The U.S.
against the U.S., Pedersen had the least amount of ice time out of all forwards, which I think is kind of. I think that's kind of crazy, especially on a Sweden team that has they have star power, but Elias Pettersson is looked at as a star hockey player from Sweden. So like the pieces really weren't adding up. Kind of seeing that ice time correlate, but like you said, he's been a real big disappointment. He really hasn't done much when he's been on the ice. So you gotta play who's hot, and Pettersson has just not been hot. So that's kind of a big conversation going, especially like you said, he was on the trade market for quite some time before JT Miller got moved to the Rangers. So that is a very interesting point generally. But then also Sweden, I mean, all in all, I really think it's their forwards that's holding them back. I think defensively they're very structured. Obviously, Rasmus Dahlin, Erik Karlsson's not what he once used to be. But I think defensively, Sweden's very solid on the back end. So goaltending also hasn't been all that great for Sweden. So when the goals aren't being produced and pucks aren't being stopped from being in the net,
it goes. Hard to win games.
I was gonna say it goes back to what we said about the U.S. The U.S. has 3 very solid layers from their O zone, D zone to goaltending. Sweden, they have something similar, but there's a skill gap. There's a big skill gap between the teams, in my opinion. You look at the rosters on paper, obviously they're all NHL players. They all know how to compete. But when you compare the 4 different rosters on paper, there really is a skill gap. Look at Canada, look at the U.S., and then look at Sweden, Finland.
Yeah, I agree. But going into the tournament, when you looked at these rosters, I would say Sweden really wasn't that far off from U.S. and Canada looking at their roster. It's just their players have underplayed completely. Pettersson should be a top 6 forward minimum, and he could easily be playing on that top line with Nylander, who, by the way, I think looks to be the only guy on that team or part of that forward lineup that has really looked to step ahead of everyone else. I mean, he looks like he's kind of carrying the front load. I know he hasn't scored, but he's still putting up numbers. And like we talked about defensively, I mean, out of the 3 goals that Sweden scored, 2 of them were scored by defensemen. So having your defensemen not only have to worry about the back end, but then about the scoring aspect, it's not gonna lead to being able to win and finish games. You gotta have your forwards producing at the front, and when that's not happening, it's gonna be really tough. And like we said earlier, I mean, their goaltending problem has been kind of a blurry situation. I think they should have started Olmark that game. They obviously didn't. They put him in the game, but it's hard for a goalie to come in the middle of a game and play as well as he would if he had a full warm-up and started. I also think that a lot of people picked Sweden to win this game. I know they were a pretty big favorite. I picked Sweden to win this game, and I think Finland just played with more passion in this game than them. I mean, they were always battling to come back if they were down a goal, and overall, I think they just looked a little bigger and more physical, and they were winning a lot more puck battles. So that's just a recipe for success, and I think it was a good thing for Finland to win that game. I mean, they always seem to be talked about as the little brother.
I mean, perfectly said. Especially look at that interview with Hedman, and then the response by Patrick Laine after the game, big brother, little brother. I think that's awesome, but it goes back to the whole rivalry Saturday rivalry day that we were talking about. I mean, the Finns really came out with something to prove. You know what I mean? Like Hedman called him out. He goes, it's a big brother, little brother situation. And the Finns really didn't like that. You know what I mean? Like that was a backhand to the face. Like you get
as biggest rivals as USA, Canada, those 2 nations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. So, like that's the one thing that I love about hockey.
Yeah.
Run your mouth, do whatever talking you want to do off the ice, but when push comes to shove on the ice, show up ready to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the biggest tournament that hockey has seen since the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. Funny enough, you're wearing the U.S. jersey from that exact tournament, and it's more or less like, look at what PK Subban said the other day, comparing NHL players to NBA players. Like, instead of an All-Star weekend, these guys are having a Four Nations tournament. They're putting their bodies on the line.
Yeah, the NHL absolutely hit the head on the hammer with that.
They're putting their bodies on the line. They're playing like it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. I mean, Jack Hughes himself said it. He goes, the NHL season's on the back burner right now. He goes, it's Four Nations. We're playing for a country. Next week when the NHL season resumes, we'll get to that. Which I love that mentality because you don't see a lot of other sports having that kind of mentality. When you put on your nation's jersey, that's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not
Everything
everyone...
else goes out the window. They just care about what's on the front, nothing else.
Exactly.
And that's just how hockey players live their lives. I feel like if you talk to any NHL player, any hockey player in general, they're more about what's on the front than the back. And I know that from us three as well.
Yeah, no, it's got to be that way. That's the only way to succeed, especially in hockey. Like, it's a game played on knives. It's a war on ice. You know what I mean? And then when push comes to shove, you're playing your biggest rival in terms of countries, the U.S., Canada, Finland, Sweden. You're gonna have to put it all on the line to get that win. And we really did see that within Sweden-Finland game. I mean, there were 3 lead changes, 4 including the first goal. It was a really back and forth game, really entertaining game. And then on top of it, we had, I mean, this only set the stage for the later night game, which was U.S.-Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean,
and
this game was good.
This game was good, but I don't think anyone really expected U.S.-Canada to exceed expectations the way they did. Yeah. And I really want to get into that. So that final was 4-3 Finland in overtime. Really good game all around, but not to like the real nitty-gritty of it. U.S.-Canada at 8 o'clock. Everyone was anticipating this game to be a barn burner. I mean, I don't think anyone really thought this game was going to go overlooked, but I also don't think that everybody really anticipated what was going to happen within this game. I mean, within 9 seconds of the puck dropping, what do we see?
2 Kachucks going after it and JT Miller following up. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Every non-hockey fan that was watching the game looking at this game like, I gotta watch more hockey.
I think it definitely brought a lot more viewers to the sport. Seeing that right off the rip of the game. I mean, you see all these reviews about it. You see all these sportscasters talking about it too, how normally they'll tilt towards watching the NBA All-Star game or something like that. All of these people watch this game over the 3-point contest and dunk contest because, I mean, first of all, seeing a game like this is once in a lifetime. I mean, with these rosters and the way they're built, it's just superstar on superstar. And when you have superstars fighting each other on top of it,
like I think that was the big one, or not the, but one of the biggest questions going into this tournament. Brennan Hagel said it in an interview. He goes, nobody really knew what to expect the night before the first puck drop. No one knew would it be an all-star type situation where guys are going to be lollygagging, trying to fiddle with the puck, whatever, just make something out of it that it's not. He goes, because if that was the case, he goes, I would have been so out of place because I was ready to run through a wall. You know what I mean? Like, number one, that's an awesome mindset to have. Number two, one of the biggest questions was, are these games going to be intense? Are these games going to be physical? Are there going to be fights? And I think with that start of a U.S.-Canada game, best on best, to see 6 big-time players drop the gloves and go at it within 10 seconds, sit 5 minutes in the box, marinate, and be like, yeah, we just did that for our country.
Doing that in where was it?
That was at Bell Center, Montreal.
Yeah. I know it was in Canada.
Yeah.
But in Canada, in front of a 90% Canadian crowd, just 3 USA guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you go north of the border, they're booing your national anthem for whatever reason. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of that, but they're booing your national anthem, And guess what? You come out there and you go, you know what? You want to boo my flag? Guess what? I'm just gonna punch your guy's face in. That's it. That's it. And that's hockey. That's the beauty of hockey, and that's why it's great for the game. Like, all respect to the NBA. It's like I had no idea their All-Star Weekend was going on at the same time as the Four Nations.
No idea.
Until I saw comments from guys like PK Subban and other analysts kind of comparing the Four Nations to the All-Star game and how much better the NHL kind of rounded their idea and their execution was better. I quite honestly had no idea this was the NBA's All-Star Weekend. And then you get guys like LeBron James saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna participate in whatever events because I'm feeling feeling a little iffy." Go put on a show. Like, people are paying God knows how much money to go watch you. You're arguably looked at as one of the best, if not the best, basketball player of all time, and you're just gonna sit on the sideline because you're not feeling good enough to play in an All-Star game. Now imagine you put these people or these players in a Four Nations type situation, and who knows, you might have bench players starting for their countries because guys, I don't want to play, I'm hurt. So I think it's great for the game. I think it's been awesome. But let's get a little bit into the game. So we obviously start with 3 fights in 9 seconds. I think that's amazing. If we get something like that tonight, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I might lose my head before.
Probably not make it out of the rank.
Yeah. I don't know what would happen, but we might not make it out of Boston in one piece. But Connor McDavid, 5.5 minutes in. I mean, this guy can't be stopped. I know we talk about it all throughout like the NHL regular season, but Connor McDavid does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. He gets speed down the middle, he gets a pass, and it's just a flyby. No one could keep up with him. So McDavid nets his first of the tournament. The U.S. is once again on their heels. They give up the first goal.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to the same thing in Finland. I mean, giving up the first goal, having to fight some adversity, especially against Canada in the Bell Center.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the difference for me. The difference is not that they gave up the first goal, but who they gave up the first goal to.
Yeah, I mean, you got all these Canadians in the Bell Center going crazy. And then you have a guy like McAvoy who's able to reset the tone for the guys and just lay out McDavid
Twice,
lay out Crosby, lay out Reinhart. I mean, he's playing with his body on the line, just like everyone else on that USA roster, which is great to see.
Yeah, so, I mean, like you just said, Charlie McAvoy, he had 5 hits during the entire game. 2 of them were on McDavid. 2 of them were on Crosby. Those are 2 names that will go down as top 5 players of all time. And McAvoy is sitting there, and he's just like, you know what? We're here, like we just said moments ago, playing for the flag on the front of our jerseys, not the names on the back. It doesn't matter who that guy in the corner is. Go lay a shoulder into him, play physical, win the hockey game, and that's exactly what Charlie McAvoy did, and I love that. That's just clean-cut hockey, and then obviously that got the U.S. going. I mean, when you're able to put a body into McDavid, catch him that clean, like, for whoever saw that replay, you know the hit was a monstrous hit. If you didn't see the hit, I really recommend go to YouTube, go to Twitter, wherever you can find the video, and go look at it. I mean, you don't see superstars like Connor McDavid getting laid out very often. And to get a piece of him the way that McAvoy did, that really did change the tone. And then Jake Gensel, I mean, a proven playoff performer at the National Hockey League level, really, really showed up. Scored a second of the tournament, tied the game, and that really got the ball going prior to the second period getting underway. So, I mean, a lot of really good stuff from the U.S. here.
I mean, just talking about the game, we didn't get to watch the full game, unfortunately, but from watching highlights, this game was a dogfight the whole time. A 3-1 game, basically a 2-1 game the whole time. Empty net at the end by, I'm pretty sure, Gensel again.
Yeah, Gensel had 2.
A couple unlikely names for the U.S. showing out and having great games. Dylan Larkin scored that game-winning goal, and it was a great play, good snipe.
It was a rip.
And I just want to talk about how USA's defense, especially Brock Faber and Jacob Slavin, shut down McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, you name it, in the third period. as like we didn't get to watch the full third period, but I watched highlights and Canada really controlled the third period of the game, but USA just shut down and they couldn't get as great chances as they should have, and then they let Hellbuck make the routine saves that he should and he knew he was gonna make. Like it was a great game. Happy to see USA win it, but I think tonight's just going to be another dogfight, and I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, a big part of US's success is exactly what you just said. It was their defensive structure. I mean, Brock Faber's 22 years old, guys. Like, you're 22. Yeah. You're turning 22. I'm turning 22 this year. Like,
locking down guys
and,
like McDavid, Crosby, and
yeah,
McKinnon at the world's highest stage.
I mean, I could barely sit here and imagine playing at a higher level than we are right now, and these guys are taking on the best players in the world. I mean, 22 years old, dominated the collegiate level, played there for 4 years, came into the National Hockey League, played for his hometown team, and has really made a name for himself. I think Brock Faber is one of the best stories of this tournament, to be completely honest, because not only has he proven himself to be a really good defenseman in the National Hockey League, he's already proven to be one of the best that his nation has to offer. At 22 years old, with the competition of players competing to be on this roster, love seeing that out of younger guys because we're going to have, I want to say, 2 Olympics with Brock Faber on our team.
Yeah, he's going to be a shutdown defenseman for the next 10 to 15 years.
He will be on that Olympic roster next year. He will be on the World Cup roster, and he will be in the 2030 Olympic team. Guaranteed, if not more.
Yeah.
But that's just the bare minimum, and I think that's incredible. The U.S. has a lot to look forward to in general, but going back to the game, I mean, this like you said, this was a dogfight. Both goalies stood on their head. Both teams just played a very well-structured game, which is what makes me very intrigued in later's game because they've already seen each other once, and on top of it, Canada didn't have Makar.
Yeah, that's a huge missing.
Canada didn't have Makar. Tonight they will.
Yep.
And we've been really emphasizing Charlie McAvoy's impact on the game. Makar was out. Makar's now in today. McAvoy was in last game. Tonight he's out.
Yeah, and it's a shame that USA couldn't put Quinn Hughes on the roster either.
Yeah.
Those are two. Putting Makar and Quinn Hughes are 2 X factors. What?
I said, what are you going to do to Jake Sanderson if Quinn Hughes couldn't play?
No comment.
Okay.
He's gonna stub his toe in the hotel room.
Okay.
Right before game time, but
but those 2 players are X factor players that will change the dynamic of an entire team. I mean, going from having to face someone like Drew Doughty and then who's an elite player but a little past his prime, and then you have to go against Cale Makar, who is arguably the best defenseman in the NHL.
Quite honestly, I don't even think it's an argument.
I think Quinn Hughes puts a little bit of an argument in there, but
no. From a general standpoint, I think Cale Makar is hands down the best defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah.
Maybe as of right now, considering the NHL season, yeah. But Cale Makar is one of one. From his skating to his playmaking ability, I mean, I'm so beyond excited to see him tonight playing with the guys that, for the U.S.'s sake, I hope it doesn't happen, but for our sake, for the money that we paid and the game that we're about to watch, I hope we get to see Canada's power play.
Oh, 100%.
100%. If we get to see that power play, just one time, just give me one time.
No goals, though.
Yeah, no goals. I just want to see him work the puck. I want to see him work the puck, and I want to see Hellbuck make saves. But, I mean, generally, like you said, Quinn Hughes, it would have been awesome for the U.S. to have him in. Obviously, for roster reasons, they're unable to have him join the team. But I think one way or another, the U.S. is good. And Canada even said they didn't mind if the U.S. had Quinn Hughes added to the roster.
I was going to say,
because they know it's best on best.
I feel like Canada would definitely want the competition. They wouldn't shy away from it. So
yeah.
And that's just hockey in general. You want the best guys.
Yeah, guys aren't looking
the best guys. You don't want any excuses by the end of the game. So I think going forward, the NHL might have to look into that and just allowing a few extra roster spots for injuries, so something like this doesn't happen going forward. But either way, it's going to be a magnificent game.
Yeah,
and
no.
I can't emphasize how stoked it's that all three of us are. So
Yeah, no, I mean, and then kind of moving along a little bit, and then we'll continue to touch up on later's game. We move ahead of Monday. So with U.S.'s 3-1 win over Canada, they secured their spot in the championship game. So we knew that we were going to see the U.S.
Yeah.
We knew that we were going to see the U.S. from Saturday. Now, that first game on Monday, biggest game of the tournament, Canada or Finland, either of those teams win in regulation, they're playing the U.S. in the final.
Mm-hmm.
If for whatever reason that game goes into overtime, Sweden has a chance, but only if they beat the U.S. in regulation.
Yeah.
So pretty much the U.S. is locked in, but all three teams have a chance to be in the final, which I think is a unique situation. But looking at Canada, Finland,
Yeah.
I don't think many people had their doubts about who was going to be in the final. So that Canada-Finland game, let's talk about it a little. I mean, Finland really gave Canada a run for their money. Like, it was a dominant win by Canada, but Finland didn't go down without a fight.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the start of that game, Canada was all over them for the first two periods. It didn't even look like...
I mean, 3 goals in the first 13 minutes is...
Yeah, it didn't even look like these two teams were in the same league. So it was good to watch Finland play with some heart and start to come back. I mean, they made it a great game, but in the end, there was really no doubt in my mind Canada was going to win this game. For a shot to play USA in the championship game, and you have Crosby as your leader, you know he's going to be able to rally the guys and find a way to secure a win. But with how hot Canada started, it was an impossible climb for Finland to try to come back from that, especially in one period.
I mean, let's backtrack a little bit for those who haven't watched the game. So Canada really went up big time. I mean, they went up 4 goals. Like I just said, they scored 3 goals in the first 13 minutes. They potted a fourth. It was 4-0 until the third period. Everyone thought, all right, Finland's out. Finland's done. And they, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, you know what I mean? It's like, but in the grand scheme of things, Finland was so far not out of the game, it was actually kind of crazy. So a 3-goal first by Canada. McKinnon adds second to the game in the second, makes it 4-0. In the third period, in a span of about 5.5 minutes, Finland almost shocks the world and puts in 3. We go from 4-0 to 4-3, and we got about 1:15 to play. Who knows? Like at that point, hockey's hockey. Like anything could happen. Sidney Crosby goes back to what you said. His leadership, he just knows how to win. He's a winner.
Yeah.
He's a winner. So, which actually, I mean, to finish my thought, Crosby pots the empty netter. Canada wins 5-3.
Makes a huge hit to make that empty netter at the end of the game too.
Or makes a hit to make a play. Secures the win. Canada's in the final against the U.S. But on the topic of Crosby, something that we completely forgot to mention, that U.S. beating Canada on Saturday was the first time that Crosby lost the game wearing a Canadian sweater in 15 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I want to go back to that, though, because the last time he did lose was in 2010.
In the Olympics.
That was in the Olympics in the group stage when he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back in Canada and played USA in the final.
Golden goal.
And won and scored the golden goal.
Mm-hmm.
Which gets me a little nervous for tonight because I don't want history to repeat itself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, big time.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, big time. But getting back to the Canada-Finland game, I mean, Canada dominated all around, but Finland didn't go down without a fight. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what I love about hockey. We've said it time and time again throughout this podcast, but these guys play for the flag on the front of their jersey. This Finnish team knew, all right, we're down 4-0 to arguably one of the most skilled teams ever rostered, period. Down 4-0, less than 10 minutes to go in the game, and they rally back. You know what? Like, if I'm a Finnish Finland fan,
I'm happy with that.
I'm not disappointed. I'm really not. Like, you almost can't be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
I think this also brings something up for Canada where Finland was almost able to come back being down 4-0. It just kind of leaves open the door for for USA because Binnington shows a lot more weaknesses as a goaltender as opposed to Connor Hellebuck. So it's going to be really...
Well, yeah, I think going back to our last podcast, I think Canada has the weakest goalies in the tournament.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Binnington plays with his... Because he's a very emotional player. He can get very... I feel like you can shake him out of his game very easily. If USA goes up early, I mean...
That's what the Tchucks are for.
I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how Binnington handles himself in this game. So, I mean, for him to let in 3 straight goals within almost a 5-minute span against Finland, still a talented roster, but I mean, I think USA outmatches them completely.
When you're in that situation, you almost just have to shut it down and lock down. That's it. Finish the game. Like there should have not been a drop of sweat.
Yeah.
On anyone's face watching that game, and there was.
And I'm not blaming.
There definitely was for me. I know that much.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not blaming Binnington for that either. Maybe Canada took the foot off the gas a little bit because they thought the game was over. But just to again highlight that weakness at goaltending that Canada has.
Yeah, and I mean another thing that we could really look into is the fact that Canada didn't get a single power play against Finland. There was one penalty that entire game. Like, Finland was it was a very disciplined game, but Finland played a very disciplined game knowing that if they went down, if they were short-handed against this Canada team, they're toast.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what I mean? It's like, it goes back to what we said. Very talented team, but when push comes to shove, Canada's Canada, Finland's Finland. There's almost no competition there. So, but one point that I really want to get into, I'm kind of curious on both of your thoughts on this. What about Lankinen getting the nod over UC Saros in this game against Canada? Like, obviously Saros lost that first game. Lankinen came in, beat Sweden. They gave Lankinen the nod. He was the hot hand. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think I agree with the decision. And they ended up pulling Lankinen. I'm pretty sure they pulled him after the first.
They pulled him after 25 minutes.
Yeah, and I like the play. I agree with riding the hot hand. Lankinen's been good during the regular season as well. It's not like he just had one good game during the Four Nation. They ride the hot hand. They let him go, and I agree that they pulled him. That they should have pulled him down 4-0 25 minutes into the game. You say Saros came in and honestly played a hell of a game.
14 saves on 14 shots.
Gave Finland a chance there at the end. One guy we didn't say anything about either is Mikael Granlund, who also scored 2 goals for Finland and scored the overtime winner for Finland against the Swedes.
Yeah.
Having a hell of a tournament, who also just got traded to the Stars. But going back to Solon's point, I don't mind the decision of playing Kevin Lankinen. Obviously, Saros has more leadership and more like.
He's more
role,
Weldon. Yeah.
For the Finns, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think riding a hot hand and a goaltender is typically what most coaches will do. So I don't have a problem with it. Unfortunately, you just came out against a flying hot Canada team. There's not that much you can do when you have 3 of the best players in the world peppering you with shots. So.
A fired up Canada team too.
Yeah.
Needing that win.
Knowing they need.
No, I mean it was a must win for him, but I completely agree with both of you. I mean, I didn't really mind the decision to sit Saros. You know what? Like, he got the nod at the beginning of the tournament. I think everyone kind of expected that. Lankinen came in that one game. He beat Sweden. He played a hell of a game. But the one thing I will say is I also don't mind it, not solely Four Nations talk, but also general NHL season talk. UC Saros has not been good this year.
Yeah.
I mean, neither of the Nashville Predators. We touched up on that.
Predators, yeah.
But, like, he's played 41 games. He has 11 wins, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Like, I could double check myself on that, but I'm almost positive that he's played 41 games this season and only has 11 wins. His record is, 41 games, 11 wins.
Yeah, I mean, that just reflects on how tough that season has been for the Predators.
Yeah.
They just really...
I mean, he's lost his last 5 games minimum with Nashville.
They have definitely found a way to... not follow expectations whatsoever.
No, yeah. So that just brings me back to my point with Saros. Like, I'm not surprised that Lankinen got the nod, but I was. It's a bit of a tricky situation because Saros has been Finland's guy for how many years? He's been in the conversation for a Vezina Trophy, but it goes back to you got to ride the hot hand. It's the same thing as saying, oh, Bedard should be on this Canada team because he's Connor Bedard. It doesn't matter. You ride the hot hand. If you're playing well, you play. If you're not, sorry, you're on the bench. So similar situation with Canada. Binnington's been riding the hot hand. John Tortorella loves, or not Tortorella, I mean John Cooper loves what Binnington's been doing, what he's about. So he's riding the hot hand. You have 2 Stanley Cup winning goalies in Binnington and Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
So I think at any point in the tournament, you could have turned to Aiden Hill and been like, hey, show me what you got. But I respect the decision. It was for whatever reason. It almost worked out. They put up a fight, so no complaints there. I think Finland really put a dogfight, and they should be proud of what they did. Same with Sweden. I think Sweden played the U.S. They knew that game later in the day didn't mean anything. Canada secured their spot in the final with that 5-3 win over Finland. Sweden, U.S., that was a consolation game. That was just for fun. Put on a show for the people. And Sweden really did put up a dogfight. Chris Kreider made his Four Nations debut. First shift, 35 seconds in. How do you do 1-0 U.S.? Everyone was like, oh, crap. This is going to go sideways fast. At least that's what I thought. But Sweden did not go down. Gustav Nyquist ties the game at 1. Jasper Bratt, the New Jersey Devil, who I feel like has been having an incredible tournament.
I think he's been the best player for Sweden. Best forward, best overall player. Also a guy underrated that has had a great tournament, Joel Eriksson Ek.
Joel Eriksson Ek has been incredible too.
People know about him. Very good two-way player. Another thing I would like to say about Sweden is they're the only team in the tournament that used all 3 goalies.
They are.
They put Sam Ursinen, their third-string goalie, in against USA. Had a hell of a game, only 2-1.
Yeah, you know what? I love that because there's no implication in the game. You know what? Yeah. Give him that experience. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that. I'm in full support of that.
So, obviously, USA, they did sideline a lot of guys to make sure that they were going to be healthy for that Thursday game, not having either the Tkachuk brothers, or no, Brady got hurt in that game.
Brady started the game.
Yeah, Brady left after the first.
Let Matthew Tkachuk rest. McAvoy was resting.
No, well, McAvoy's hurt. He got
an illness.
Yeah, he had an infection in his shoulder. Got what's the word? You're the nurse guy. Into the hospital.
He got checked. Antibiotics.
No.
What are you talking about?
No, he got checked into the hospital or whatever.
Admitted?
Yeah, that word. He got admitted into the hospital. Obviously we got to see what's up with that. Obviously McAvoy's out week to week, but they rested Austin Matthews, Matty Tkachuk. Brady didn't skate with the team yesterday. They sat a few guys, whether it was for the game or for practice, for precautionary reasons. And you know what? I like that. They sat Hellebuck. They gave Ottinger a chance. It didn't go their way. They lost 2-1, all 3 goals being scored in the first period. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's the game. It didn't mean anything. If you show up to win tonight, I have no problem. US's roster was weaker than it should have been. Obviously, no excuses there. But when you don't have something to play for, and you're already looking ahead to a game against Canada, you're just looking, all right, let's get in and out of this game without any injuries, without any crap, and let's move forward.
That's the biggest thing. Just getting out of that game without any injuries, and making sure everyone's ready to go versus Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So Sweden takes that one 2-1. All 3 goals that game in the first period. Obviously, our buddy Christos was very happy with that. He had the over 1.5 in the first period. But generally speaking, after Monday, everyone knew U.S. Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's anticipated. This might. I mean, I read somewhere where someone compared this game to the 1980 Miracle on Ice. We were talking about this yesterday, and I was saying that's a crazy comparison. That only amps me up so much more to be at this game. Because think about it, it's in the name, the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. 1980. We're in 2025.
50 years.
Yeah, that's almost 50 years, 45 years. And that's still arguably the biggest U.S. hockey achievement, period. So this could be their first men's gold medal since 1996, since the World Cup of Hockey,
Yep.
which is crazy to think about. I mean, like, we're each in our 20s right now, and we have never seen nor experienced a men's international gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, this would completely change the tide of U.S. hockey compared to Canada hockey, because for the first time, it would almost seem like the U.S. is developing better players than the Canadians are. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard or saw, but there was like a Spin Chicklets clip. I'm pretty sure it was Biz who was saying, he goes like, I think that it's gonna be like a national emergency if Canada loses a game on Thursday. Like they're gonna freak out about Hockey Canada.
Well, they
and the
will,
way that
because Canada will be the 51st state.
Yeah, but it's like on top of that, it's almost like, all right, you lost the tournament to the U.S., but it's like you look at the magnitude of the tournament, and it kind of checks out. You know what I mean? It's like the U.S. hasn't won a gold since the introduction of the U.S. NTDP, the National Team Development Program, for the best 17 and 18-year-old players in the country. They've used that, and look at the U.S. team right now. Yeah. How many of those guys played through that development program? How many of those guys played together in that development program? They have just extended connections with each other that not only are they playing with each other and for each other because of the jersey that they're wearing, they have personal connections with these guys. They have gone to war with these guys before. These are their brothers. These are their friends. They spend holidays, summers together. So think about what this means to them.
That's also not to mention that the National Development Program is only getting better and better. I mean, if you look at their roster the last few years, like, these guys are all going to be superstars in the league in no time. So USA Hockey is just up and up on the rise, and if USA can figure out how to win this game, I think it's just going to rip the pride out of all the Canadians' hearts.
Yeah. I mean, I saw something where Canada has 37 gold championships compared to USA's 4. Now, that's crazy.
And that's at the men's international level.
Men's international level. Now, that's crazy to think about how far USA has came, and now that we're competing with them on an every game basis, and it's 2025 now. What do you expect in the next 10 years?
Exactly.
And I hope USA ends up taking the reins of owning hockey over Canada.
If they can win this game tonight, I think it'll set in motion for the next coming USA teams just that gold standard that we're better than Canada. We can win every game that we go into.
Another like cool note I would like to say is you talked about how they battle together, or USA teams battle together. A lot of these guys played on a team together in North America. I was there back in 2016.
The World Cup of Hockey.
World Cup of Hockey.
Yeah, the U23 North America team.
10 guys in this world, in the USA and Canada, that played with each other in Team North America, such as Matthews, McDavid, Dylan Larkin, Hellbuck, Eichel, JT Miller. All these guys.
Actually,
were on
Hellbuck wasn't on that team. It was Matt Murray was their goalie.
Wow.
I know Matt Murray was the starter. I thought Hellbuck was still on the team.
I don't think so. He could have been, but I don't think so. I want to check on that, to be honest. But
Colton Parayko is on it. Like so many guys that are just developed into the stars that they are now and end up making the best on best tournament for Canada and US.
Speaking about this game as well, unless you want, did you have something you want to say?
I was gonna say let's get more into this game.
Yeah. So there are still a few injuries. Obviously, we know that McAvoy is not going to be playing due to that infection. Both the Tkachuk brothers, I think, both are still intending to play this game.
Both are expected to play.
That's
Matthews
huge.
said in an interview he does not plan on missing this game.
I would hope not.
Jack Eichel, who has played in a national tournament game with BU, he's won a Stanley Cup with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. With the camera in front of his face and mics up to his mouth, he said, "This might be the biggest game he's ever played."
Yeah.
Now, let your heads wrap around that a little bit. You play for an NCAA Division I national title. Granted, you lose, but regardless, that was probably the biggest game that he's played to that point. You go on to win a Stanley Cup in your first playoff appearance. You can't get much bigger than that. It's the biggest stage in hockey. And now you have the decency to say, hey, this might be the biggest game I've ever played. That excites me even more in terms of what this game means to these players.
He's been a great tone setter for the U.S. as well. He looks so calm with the puck when he skates, and when he starts skating, his stride, I mean, he just outskates guys. It's going to be really hard to outskate Canada tonight, but when you watch him control the puck and control the play, he really allows guys to get open around him, which allows plays to develop, shots to get to the net. And so I think you're going to see him be a guy that's going to be all over the puck in the O-zone tonight.
Yeah, I mean, generally it's like right now this game, we might actually see one of the most tactical games we've ever watched. These guys have known that they're playing each other since Monday. It's Thursday. These guys have had so much time to do film, to talk, to kind of communicate with one another, a game plan, what they want to do, that I almost feel like there's going to be almost no room on the ice for either team to move. They're just going to suffocate each other. And it's going to be one of those games where if a McDavid could get enough speed to get past the defender, he's going to have to capitalize on that chance because he's only going to get so many.
Yeah.
Like listen, you can't prevent guys from getting chances for a full 60 minutes, but you could get real damn close. So it comes down to the best players in the world being the best players in the world, finishing their chances when they get them, and it's going to be up to the goalies to be that backbone of their team and really carry them to where they want to be, and that's a gold medal. Like, you look at Connor Hellebuyck, we touched up on this a little bit in the first episode, but Connor Hellebuyck has been a proven regular season goalie. I mean, he's probably the best in the world right now.
Top 3 without a doubt.
I'd even say top 2 and not 2, but on top of that, it's when it comes to the playoffs, he kind of just shuts down. We've seen that in the last couple of years, so it's almost like he hasn't really proven himself in those big situations, which is the one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit. But then again, it's a different atmosphere.
I'm not too concerned, just because of how well he's been playing throughout this whole tournament. So, I think if he just treats it like it's
A regular
another game, he'll be just fine. Just don't get in your head, don't overthink it, play it like it's a regular game, and I think he will be just fine. Do we want to get into some predictions for this game?
Let's get into predictions, but before we get into predictions, we touched up on Crosby a little bit before, what he's meant being captain Canada. Let's talk a little bit about how Sid the Kid, who is no longer a kid, is leading this tournament in points. Through 3 games, he's got 5 points. I mean, Zach Werenski's technically tied in first with him, but you look at the age gap between Werenski and Crosby and the dominance that Crosby has had and the impact that he's had on games. 3 assists in the first game, big assist in their championship clinching game against Finland. That McKinnon game winner, that 4th goal,
and then clinching it with the empty netter.
And then clinching it with the empty netter on top of it. He really has been the best player on a stacked Canada roster at the age of, what is he, 37?
Yeah, this could be a crazy take, but he might be the oldest guy out of all players in the 4 nations.
No, it's not a crazy take. That's confirmed. He's the oldest. Yeah, he's the oldest player in the tournament.
I was just pulling that out of my ass, but it's crazy. He's the oldest player in the tournament, and it looks like he's the youngest guy out there. He still looks like he's conditioned crazy. He's 5 points leading the league, and every time he's on the ice, you're like, you notice every little thing he does. He made. And even the bad things you notice, as he made one bad play during that USA-Canada game that led to a Dylan Larkin goal. And everyone started saying stuff about Crosby, and you already know he came back the next shift and, led his team back to,
He's definitely one of those players, one of the few players that has actually lived up to his name and potential.
He has not lived up to the hype or not. He has exceeded it beyond belief. It's Crosby and McDavid are two players that McDavid has a little bit of work to do to catch up to Crosby, in my opinion. He doesn't have the cups to show for it, but he still has time to get there. The point of what I'm trying to get at is there are very few players that come into this league with certain expectations, and there's an even fewer amount that not only achieve those expectations but exceed them the way that these guys have. Crosby came into the league, became the youngest captain in the league, became the youngest captain to hoist the Stanley Cup at just 21 years old. Like, that stuff's unheard of, and we might never see something like that again. He's been to 4 Stanley Cup finals, lost his first one, won the last 3. He's never been to a Stanley Cup final without doing it 2 times in a row. 08 and 09, and then 16-17. Like, his dominance, like his sheer dominance in his prime will never be seen again.
He's a dog.
Yeah. Like,
He's a dog.
Like, off the top of my head, I don't have every exact stat, but in like a 3-year span, Crosby won 2 Stanley Cups, a World Cup of hockey. A couple years prior to that, he won an Olympic gold. Like, this guy's a winner. That's it. He's a winner. So I think Sidney Crosby, I mean, we're all aware we're seeing one of one. We're never going to see something like him again, but it almost makes you appreciate it a little bit more. I've seen Crosby play a lot in person, hockey games in general, but I've never seen him at the international level. And I feel like that's different. I feel it's different. I mean, look at the players that are surrounding him. He's no longer the 1C with Malkin being right behind him. He's now the 1C with a Connor McDavid behind him.
Yeah.
With a Nathan McKinnon behind him. With a Cale Makar running his blue line rather than an Erik Karlsson or a Chris Letang. You know, like, these guys have exceeded expectations and have become so much greater than what people think. And you look at the time and the dedication that they've put into their craft, and it's really self-explanatory. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's not many guys that get the eyes of NHL scouts and are talked about being the next big thing at the age of 13, 14 years old. And that's what we saw out of guys like Crosby and McDavid.
Yeah, well, I mean, Crosby's been the face of Canada for the last 15, 20 years, and I think that's what they hope Bedard ends up being. But then again, I don't think there will ever be another guy like Crosby to be a face of a nation like that ever again.
Yeah.
Even with guys like McDavid and Bedard, just because I think there's so many different guys now. Like, when Canada was, even back then in 2010, they still had a stacked roster, but there wasn't that one guy like Sidney Crosby is. Like, even right now, you compare McDavid and McKinnon, people are like, they're both the top 2 of the top 3 players in the league. Mm-hmm. Neither of them are the face of my team.
I just don't think that anyone on Team Canada is going to be able to match the dominance that Sidney Crosby has shown over the last 15 years or so, being that face of Canada. Because, like we keep saying, the U.S. is on the rise. I don't see it. Like, no matter how good Canada is, if U.S. and Canada play 10 times, Canada is not winning all 10 of those games.
No. As a matter of fact, I could very easily see it go 5-5 or 6-4.
Exactly. That's something that Crosby will never and has never faced, right? Like, he has one loss.
I mean, he's 26-1 in the last 15 years wearing a Canadian sweater, and that one loss came last Saturday.
Yeah. So I just don't think another Canadian leader is going to be able to represent and have that sheer dominance that Crosby had as well.
Yeah. No, 100%. But prediction time.
Yes,
sir. I'm so stoked for later. I know we're gonna have a blast. I mean, we got a nice little road trip ahead of us to sit and let this one sink in.
We're gonna be blasted too.
I'm very excited. It's gonna be. I think this might be hands down the best game that I've ever been to. Totally. If it lives up to the hype, unless I go to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. This is one of one for me.
Definitely the most skilled game we're ever gonna watch.
100%. I think we're gonna look back at this. It's almost like you watch people reminiscing about the '96 World Cup of hockey, or the 2010 Olympics. It's like you got such skill on these rosters that, I mean, I don't have the exact post up, but I saw something that was like comparing each team to the salary cap. And it's like, it's not possible to ever see something like this, like, at the NHL level in terms of skill. But then again, what's the chance that we're ever going to see something like this at the international level too? It's like, how often? Like, think about it this way: if this tournament was another year or two away, Crosby may very well still be on the team. I have no doubt about that. But now you potentially add players like Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, and this Canada team is just right back at sheer dominance. Not that it's not still, but even more so.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. I think we're gonna have a very back and forth game. It looks like Jordan Binnington's starting for Canada. Helly's starting for the U.S. and if he's not, somebody's got to check Mike Sullivan's brain. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm decked out in my U.S. gear. It's gonna be a U.S. gold medal game. TD Garden. Give me U.S. 3-2.
Nice.
I like that.
I
I like that
too.
a lot. I'll go. I would love this game to go into overtime.
I was gonna say that, but I don't want to jinx it.
I would love for this
Yeah.
game to go into overtime.
Oh.
I obviously would take the USA win over overtime, but I'm gonna stick along the same lines. I think it's gonna be a little higher scoring. I think they're gonna figure out a little bit out from the first game they played. I gotta take the USA still, so I'll take USA 5-4, 5-4 in overtime or 5-4 with the late third period goal.
I would love a 5-4 game,
Yeah.
a nice high scoring. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, to be completely honest. I think it's going to be very strategic, very methodical, which is why I went with the 3-2. But a 5-4 game would be unreal. At an overtime, at a Poppy, an AM 34 overtime winner in Boston, in Marchand's face, in his home turf,
I would
in the home locker room.
I would prefer Eichel.
Listen, dude,
Yeah,
I'm not saying
But-
I'm not saying who we would prefer here. I'm just
Um,
saying how sick that would be.
Either way,
Yeah.
we're all a little biased here. We all know
100%.
We all know USA.
What do you
100%.
got, Milks?
I got a 4-3 game. Can't say if overtime's gonna be involved,
All right. Well, we all got 1-goal games, so you know what that means. Take the spread, guys.
Yep.
but you want to talk about some unsung heroes in this game here?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
That's
Real quick, I think for Team USA, I like Dylan Larkin showing up again for Team USA. And for Team Canada, I've been saying it all tournament, give me Anthony Cirelli.
Anthony Cirelli's a big time player, dude. Anthony Cirelli really, he shows up in the big games. I know firsthand as an Islander fan. Broke my heart in the Eastern Conference Final. When it's time to play, he's there and he's ready to play.
Take him any time for any viewers.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go this might be a little bit of a hot take, but if we're talking underline
I feel like you're gonna take my guy now.
dude, I'm taking 2 Minnesota Wilds. One on offense, one on defense. Give me Matt Boldy and give me Brock Faber.
2 USA guys. I like that. First guy I want to say who I think is going to have a huge game. Not a unsung hero at all, but I think Makar is going to have a crazy game tonight.
I think McCarr's going to play lights out.
He might be the best
Yeah.
player. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best player for Canada tonight. Otherwise, my unexpected hero for Canada, I love this pick because I think it's going to be a physical, gritty game. Sam Bennett. I don't know if he's going to get in the score sheet, but I think he's going to have an impact one way or another. Keeping the Kachucks in check, keeping JT Miller in check. He's one of the only guys on Canada that could, stay with the physical presence as the Kachucks and JT Miller. One guy on the USA side, which I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, but I've been saying... Actually, I'm going to switch it up right away. I love the way Jake Gensel's been playing. I don't know if he's unsung at all because how good of a tournament he's had, but I expect him to continue his dominance, and I think he's playing on the second line probably with
That's what it's been with.
I thought he's been playing top with Matthews.
No, it's been
Or has he been playing with Eichel?
No,
it's been Eichel.
Yeah, he's been playing with Eichel, and they've been very good too. I mean, looking back to Canada, I really like that Sam Bennett pick. I really do. I mean, he's a nitty gritty. He plays with Matty Tkachuk in Florida. He's won a cup with Matty Tkachuk in Florida. They know what they're about. I mean, you got guys literally saying in interviews, they're like, it's annoying playing against one Chuck brother.
We all hate him from the NHL.
Yeah.
From all of our
Yeah,
teams,
100%. But how many guys could you imagine are like, it sucks playing against one Chuck brother? Add a second.
Both of them at the same
Add
time.
a second.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like-
I really hope Brady Tkachuk puts Sam Bennett in the 5th row of this game. I would love that.
But actually, I'm currently looking at Canada's roster. He's not going to play because Cale Makar is in the lineup. But Thomas Hurley, could we all sit and just take a look that he's on Canada's roster, obviously. He was born in Syracuse, New York, and he's playing for Canada. Can we figure it out?
Is that real? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, can we maybe figure it out? I mean, if you're born in New York, let's pick the right country here.
I thought you were gonna talk about how Harley in the one game that he came in had a very good game.
I mean, I was
Did have
actually
a good
I was
game. I think he
yeah.
deserves to play over a couple of these other Canadian defensemen.
I completely agree with that,
That's a
but
whole different story.
on the point that I was about to make about him, which was similar to that, was when I saw Syracuse, New York, and he's on the Canada roster, I was more or less like, wow, he's unfortunately going to win a silver instead of a gold today.
Yeah.
He was born in the right country. He was born in the right country, chose the wrong one to represent. But hey, it doesn't hurt me at all. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, going back to your point, Thomas Hurley didn't play a really, really, really solid game in the one game that he appeared in. At only 23 years old, I mean, he holds his own. He knows he's a replacement player. Only gets an opportunity to play if somebody gets hurt, which that somebody was Shea Theodore, but then obviously Makar still playing, didn't allow him to play. I just think Canada's defense as a whole, I mean, Drew Doughty, Stanley Cup winner. Kel Makar, Stanley Cup winner. Shea Theodore's hurt, so whatever. Devontae's obviously Stanley Cup winner. Colin Parayko, Stanley Cup winner. It's like, you got winners on this team. Through and through. Through and through. So it's like, I really think that this game's going to be an absolute dogfight. I think this game is going to go down as one of the best hockey games in recent memory, if not of all time. And I quite honestly cannot wait to get into the city of Boston.
I'm so excited.
Feel the electricity running through that city. And my God, I cannot wait for that puck drop. That anthem is going to be insane. I don't think that we're going to be able to hear ourselves think. I don't think that we're going to be able to hear whoever's singing the national
We gotta
anthem.
get our whole section singing USA anthem.
Yo, if there's any Canadians near us and they drop
We're gonna
the mitts
have
off
one
the
right
face
next to
off,
us.
If they boo the U.S. anthem, I might have to drop the mitts before
Yeah.
Kachuk starts throwing the mitts on the ice.
all three
So-
gyms just throwing the mitts at one guy.
The
One-
three gyms.
Whoa.
There's a reason why we're Jim, boys. But listen, I think we have. I think that this is the best game that any of us have ever been to. I think we could all admit that. I think we're all beyond stoked. I think the star power within this game, we're never going to see something like this again, at least in person. And we have a road trip to get to.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Three Gyms Talk Hockey. I'm your host, Saul Mijas, alongside Mike Cardoza and Matt Milko. That's all the time we have for this week. Let's go USA.
USA all the way.
Let's go, baby.
Lock it in.
Play Freebird.
See you next week.